My fellow Nerdicans, welcome back to another episode of That's So Nerdy. Today we have another gameplay video for you. I'm really excited about this one. This is going to be Future Trunks versus Dark King Mechikabura. Both decks I've been working on a very long time. They are both mine, but Tommy is piloting Mechikabura and I am piloting Trunks. And I've been waiting a really long time to bring Trunks to the channel. I have featured Mechikabura before. I have since updated Mechikabura, even since this video, because this video did come out before I received my Realm of the God cards in the mail. So there is actually a different build that I am running behind Mechikabura, but not a whole lot different, just slightly different. So I went first here. I played Mai to search out my Unison. He is now searching out his Dragon Balls, one from his life, and then one from his deck. Here I try and just really mix up the life card so he doesn't know what he's going to be getting next. This actually turned out to be a bit better of a match than I expected, because I do choose to try and not throw any 4-drops down on the board, because anyone that knows Mechikabura, on his Awakened side, if he puts a card on for his Activate main, if he puts a card on the bottom of his deck, he can oh, excuse me, that came out of nowhere. He could steal one of his opponent's battle cards with 4 cost or less, as long as it doesn't have barrier. So I try really, really hard not to play out too many battle cards that have an energy cost of 4 or less, so we can't really utilize Mechikabura's full abilities. And it actually kind of makes it so the game drags on a bit. There are a lot of really tough decisions, because honestly, the build that I have behind my Future Trunks is fairly aggro. It's got parts, as I'm sure you can see, it's got parts of the Skillless engine from, I think it was BT14? It was either 13 or 14. It was Supreme Rivalry is when it came out, because it's the engine that's supposed to run behind the Teen Gohan, the blue Teen Gohan. But I've tried this engine behind pretty much all my other blue leaders except for that blue Gohan. Mainly because I did test that blue Gohan out a lot on Untap. And while it is kind of fun, it really hurts when the things that deck wants to do gets countered, because it also leaves you an energy behind. It's really and that's really rough. Nobody likes to be an energy behind. And if you went second, then you're it feels like you're going 2 energy behind, which is really awful. And it does take Tommy a little bit longer to make some decisions with this deck, because while he has played with Mechikabura before, it has been a while. So he's kind of reacquainting himself with the deck, with the help of me, of course, because I am always willing to answer any questions that anybody has about my decks, especially in this casual format. If it's in a little bit more of a competitive aspect, then obviously I'm going to try and keep my deck as secretive as possible. Another yacht stuck up out of nowhere. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep my deck as secret as possible in competitive events. That way, I don't have to worry about people like citing in hate for my deck until after they've already played against it once. So I do take the damage from this swing. And for those who don't know, the future Trunks, he actually has one of my favorite awakenings because it's when you or your opponent is at 4 life, you get to awaken. So that is so nice because you can stay at a nice high life total because you also don't have to take life to awaken. So you can stay at a nice high life total and then just let your engine do what it's supposed to, because the leader on the front side, sorry, not on the front side, on the back side, on the awakened side, he actually has just inherent spot removal. You get to pay 2 energy and you can bottom deck something that doesn't have barrier, and then at the end of your turn you get to restand 1. So it's really, really good. Alright, so now Tommy plays out the Toa. I warp a card from hand and then draw a card. I didn't have a battle card on field, so he doesn't get to warp one from the field. But he just wanted to get, I believe it's either the last of his Dragon Balls or almost the last of his Dragon Balls into the drop area. That way he can awaken when he wants. I'm actually super stoked with all the Realm of the Gods cards that have come out. There's a bunch of additions that I've made to, honestly, a bunch of my decks, because the cards with Realm of the Gods in their name are all awesome for their respective colors. I mean, it doesn't really come up all the time, but it is really nice to have them. So Tommy is going to awaken here, and Mechikabura's awakening allows him to send a battle card from my drop area to my warp, as well as restanding an energy and drawing a card. My opinion, really, really good. I think that, honestly, Supreme Rivalry has some Lord, I'm sorry, guys, I cannot stop yawning, but I think that Supreme Rivalry had some of the best awakening conditions. Like, for example, Bojack, he restands, or he draws a card and restands 2 energy. Or is it, I think it might be restands an energy and draws 2 cards, but I think it's actually draws a card and restands 2 energy, which is so good. So good. I mean, you don't get to awaken until you have a 4-cost unison or you're at 3 or less life, so you have to be extra defensive. But honestly, in that deck, it's something that you can easily do with the right cards. So now that Tommy's at 4 life, I do awaken, take myself, because Tommy is at 4 life, like I said earlier, I do meet part of the condition, and then I use my leaders, activate main to bottom deck the Toa, and then end my turn to restand energy. Now here's where things like start to get interesting between the both of us, because now we're both awakened, as well as both kind of having inherent spot removal. Well, I would argue that Trunks' spot removal is a little better. Mechikabura, he's strong in his own right. Now, I will disclose that I'm pretty sure that I'm not running any floodgates in this deck specifically, and I really should. I should consider throwing in 2 of the Gohan Baby's minions, or maybe even 2 Ready to Rumbles. Because, I mean, just having that ability, and especially in a game like this where you're like, no, I don't want you to swing anymore. You have more options than I do. It makes it kind of tough. And Ready to Rumble being 4 energy, while it is really, really good, that's a lot of energy that you have to leave open if you want to be able to run it. Or at least play it, I mean. So yeah, from this point on, Tommy really feels the pressure, because with this Trunks deck, like, I am able to stay at a pretty high life total for pretty much as long as I want. And I think that this leader is actually really slept on, because there's another really, really good ability that it has, and that's the fact that it's immune to critical. Yeah, you heard me. I said immune to critical. Because all you have to do if you're about to take a critical hit, you just reveal the card instead. What kind of word is instead? You just reveal the card instead, and then add it to your hand. So this leader just completely nullifies crit swings, which is amazing. Which is a big reason why I am trying to find a really good engine to run behind him to make him work. And honestly, I think this might be the one. I think this skillless engine that was meant for Gohan might actually be the engine that works best behind him. At least that I can think of right now, with the cards that I have available to me. And I do now, I have gained access to God Sealing Technique, and as of this video, I hadn't gained access to Golden Avenger, but I do now. I'm slowly starting to get more and more of the actual blue staples. Right there, you see, I was trying to counterplay. I thought he was going to counter with the Supreme Kai of Time counter attack, which would have warped away that Goku, which would have messed up my plan coming up. But he didn't, so since I was trying to use Trunks for a counterplay, I just kind of lost out on that God Sealing. But it is what it is, because it doesn't really make a difference, because I still kind of get to do what I want to do here, which is, boom, EX Evolve into this Goku. And if he would have had battle cards on board, it would have sent him back to his hand. And you can't combo against that card's battle. So he Power Burst brings back the 1-drop Mechikabura to his hand. And then I have to pass turn, because I don't have anything else I can do. I believe I was supposed to restand 1 energy, but I could be wrong about that. I think I forgot to do that, but that's not that big a deal. I'm pretty sure at this point, I kind of wanted to fish for some cards, I think, because I might have been looking for something specific. Yeah, I've got him down to 2 life, and I'm still sitting pretty comfortably at 6. Which, I mean, both these decks are very capable of sitting at a high life total and just staying there. It's just the Trunks, he kind of needs another deck that needs to awaken at 4 in order to be able to really utilize his other awakening. But he plays Salsa, which makes me discard 1 or warp 1 and then draw 1. and then on attack, he makes me warp a battle card from my drop area. It's really good card earlier on to get your plays set up to fill your opponent's warp, because anyone who knows anything about Mechikabura knows that the more cards your opponent has in their warp, the better. The more benefit you get out of just playing the deck, doing what the deck wants to do. So it's really, really awesome. So right there, he was just asking me, making sure that he was proccing all the abilities. And like I said, I am always willing to, like, if someone asks me a question, I will always answer it honestly. I will never be like, oh, well, I mean, why don't you just do it and figure out what happens? You'll see after the turn's over, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I do get that style of teaching as well, but at the same time, like, if someone is taking the time to actually ask you, then what harm does it cause to just be cool and let them know? I mean, it's really not that big a deal. So yeah, now my warp is plenty full for him to do pretty much anything that he wants. It lets his some of his counterattacks be have their cost reduced. It also makes it so Darkness Judgment can be used for its activate battle for free, as well as like being able to play out some of the boss cards at a discounted price. Just everything starts to pop off when Mickey's opponent gets at least 3 up to 4, because when 4 cards hit the warp area, that opens up everything. But 3 gives you access to some things, and then once you get that 4th in there, then you can pretty much do whatever the deck wants to do. Alright, so he swings in with Unison, and I choose to super combo to bring something back to my hand. And I throw down Tapion mainly because I don't plan on playing him out again, because I don't want him to be able to steal him. I know that he'll just be a 20k beat stick, but I also don't want him to be able to pop it for the Captain Ginyu in case of the 20k double strike. And then here I bottom deck is Salsa, so we can't keep warping things from my drop area. And I swing into lead. And at this point, like, Tommy gets so much more defensive. I see that he's trying to play out Poutine, so I God Sealing send it right back. Obviously, it does negate that attack, but he doesn't get to do the Floodgate ability, which is really nice. So I still do get to swing a couple times. And I believe here I swing with the Unison first. Oh, no, I don't. That's where my mistake was. Because I should have swung with the Unison first. Oh, yeah. He minus the 2 markers from his Unison, so I had to warp a card for swinging with the Goku. So I definitely should have swung with the Unison first, because he Sparking negated with Power Burst to negate that attack. And here, I just threw out the skill list because I wanted to play Janemba. And now that I think about it, it was probably really not smart to go in like this, but I was really hoping that, like, he wasn't going to be able to make it out. But that wasn't the case, and now I got rid of a bunch of resources for nothing. And yeah, it feels awesome. So right here, I'm just explaining that when I use my unison to play out a skill list at the end of my turn, I play the top deck of my energy, or top card of my deck into my energy, and then I restood one of my energy because I did activate my leader's ability. So here I'm still sitting with a fairly comfortable lead. He's down to 1 life. I'm sitting at 5. I feel fairly confident, especially since I have 4 open energy. Pretty sure I have a counterattack in my hand. Just 1 though, unfortunately. Yeah, he's concentrating really hard, trying to figure out what he wants to charge. So yeah, he decided to pop the 2 markers for the floodgate ability again. And then I believe he plays out his last unison right here. Yeah. Because he's got 1 in his energy. He stacked that other one time, and now this is the last one. So it was a really smart play on his part, and he's getting better at doing stuff like that. But yeah, he got the floodgate ability from the last unison, and then was able to still draw a card by playing out this unison. Now the only thing I would have done differently is I would have swung with the other unison first before minusing the 2 markers. That's something he still needs to work on. But honestly, this is where I start to feel pressure because I did send so many cards to warp, and then next turn I'm gonna have to do it again for battle card swings. So it's really rough. So he plays out another Toa, then warps away my 7-drop. Alright, so he stops his assault after I've taken 2 damage, and I'm still just trying to come back from letting myself just pitch all those cards to warp, and I'm really not seeing the cards that I want to be seeing, which is also why I play this Midas search again. And I do pull a God Sealing because she lets you search out a Trunks Future or a Unison with a specified cost of 2. But God Sealing really wasn't what I wanted to see. I wanted the 4-drop that turns into a triple striker, because I was going to go in hard on this turn because I didn't think he'd be able to do much about it. And honestly, I think I was probably correct on that. And here I God Sealing his Poutine again so he can't floodgate me because he only has 1 life left, so I am trying to go in fairly hard. So I can try to win. Because with my hand size, I feel very uncomfortable. I do not like what I'm looking at in my hand. I don't like what I'm pulling for my life. I don't like what I'm drawing right now. From coming from a very comfortable lead down to this, it just does not feel great. And then here I comboed up with the Mai, that way he couldn't steal it and play out Ginyu if he had Ginyu in his hand. So I'm still playing around what his leader wants to do, but it's really not making that much of a difference. So right here, I restand 1 energy and end turn. Right, so here he plays out Figure of Majesty. It's not the Shenron that you want to see this late in the game, but it is. It's a decent card. It's honestly, it's one of the ones I cut. You will see the new deck profile for Mechikabura because I am gonna do a new one. But I have, since this video, removed that Figure of Majesty. It is still in the sideboard, just in case. Honestly, the main reason I have them in there is so I have another something to do on turn 4 other than just sitting there waiting for defensive energy. Because honestly, this deck doesn't really want to go in for game until like turn 5, turn 6. It wants to go in and go in hard. Luckily, I've been able to keep his board state managed with my leader's ability. Otherwise, I'd probably be in a fairly precarious situation. See, and right there he's got the Ginyu, so it actually is really nice that I got rid of the Mai. Yeah, here I'm still kind of just digging to try and see if I'm gonna end up pulling into what I want to see. And then he brings us down to tie. So I went from having a 4-life lead down to a tie game just because, honestly, because Mechikabura is Mechikabura. Because I hesitated and worried about what the leader could actually do. I think it really worked to my detriment because I probably should have played Tapion. I probably should have put a little bit more pressure on. Probably shouldn't have been as worried about him stealing my cards. And I'd probably still be sitting with a decent lead right now. But he's definitely not making it easy on me. This is the Trunks I was digging for before, and I finally pulled it. I believe it was the last life that I pulled. And here he finally poutines me, but I don't have the counterplay, so he actually gets the floodgate ability off, which is unfortunate. And then I pass turn, and I believe this is where he wraps it up. And he actually makes a bit of a mistake. He takes some extra steps in killing me that he didn't really need to do. Because coming up, he does play out, what is it called? Devilish Dominator, I think is what it's called. And it just... Yeah, Devilish Dominator. And it just really hurt because his ability to restand himself if I have 10 or more cards in warp, which I do. And then if I counter, I've got to send a life to warp. So I don't counter here. And what he should have done with the size of his hand, he should have just completely comboed out. And me bringing back a Dimension Magic to my hand, hoping that maybe he didn't swing with that one immediately after, knowing he would, but hoping that he wouldn't. And then this is where he ends it. But if you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. Push the notification bell so you can be notified anytime I drop a new video. I do have plenty more in the works. I have a couple more that are from before the Realm of the Gods, and then everything else will be from after. So that's all, and y'all just stay nerdy.